Welcome, everyone.
Howdy.
Welcome. Welcome back to the Brother Sister Show. We are two siblings who keep in. What do we do? What do we do? We talk about movies. That's how we keep in touch, as through this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Whether
Livia.
I am Anthony, and whether or not this is your first time or your 15th time, thank you, because we just hit 300 streams on Spotify and 333 downloads overall. So thank you.
I just realized I was like dancing, but nobody can see that.
Oh, yeah, no one can see that. Only Ari can see that.
No, he's not even paying attention to me. I don't know where he is.
Dang. Well, today we're going to be talking about Booksmart. But before that, we like to catch up on our lives / what we have been watching outside of this podcast. So, what's up? What's happening?
Well, first things first. This is us.
This is us.
This is Mom's favorite part of the podcast. So let's make sure we keep it long.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to say that our father now watches it.
Yes. Whether or not he is watching it because he likes it or just in spite Mom.
I think it's a mixture of both. A healthy mixture.
Well,
because I
good.
too would watch it in spite of her, and I too talk about it every week in spite of her. So there you go.
But yeah,
But
this is us. It's getting crazy. I feel like that's every episode though.
yeah, but this one is especially crazy because each episode has been different parts of each other, and I really like how they do everything, but I really like how they're doing this one because they are. So they're basically all three of them are having a crisis, but it's cut between them having a crisis whenever they first had separate rooms when they were kids, and then also they're having crises now as adults. And so we saw. Sorry.
I felt so dumb because I realized that this past episode,
Oh my
because it
god.
ended, because this episode was all about Kevin, and at the end, because I've been wondering about Kate for the longest time and her whole thing, because they haven't shown anything, but at the end of the episode, it was like her waking up in the middle of the night, that night that they all started, like, like sleeping in their own rooms. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize, and I felt so dumb.
You are dumb. But Kate, so Randall had the break-in, and then
Yes.
I was about to say Jack. What's his name? Kevin? Yeah, Kevin had he basically finally broke up with his ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's
then
wildin'.
yeah, and then he slept with Kate's best friend, which I don't really care for. And then now it's Kate's turn. And and then it's also kind of I totally forgot that it's also cutting between them having a crisis whenever they're sorry, my cat's doing something. Whenever they're having crisis like during their teen years.
Yeah,
So
it's
the
like
first
the
one was
pre.
when Randall was having trouble like sleeping. Kevin was first met, I think, his wife's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we're getting into Kate with her abusive boyfriend.
Mark. Good old Mark.
Was that his name?
Yeah, that's his name.
Never trust a Mark.
Never just a. Oh, I feel like we should. My name is Mark. My middle name is Anthony.
You're a
I feel
fucking
like
liar.
it just go by my middle name just because I'm the second, but
But
neither
yeah,
here or
there you go. But oh
there. Yeah,
wait, I wonder if Dad just skips this part.
he does. He told me he skips it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a lot of spoilers. But yeah, so I'm excited to get to Kate's part.
Yeah, I've been wondering what the hell happened because no one likes talking about it.
I know, which is very strange. I'm also wondering what's happening with the mom.
Yeah.
What's happening to Rebecca? Is she okay? Um, but yeah, so I don't really have much to say about it. I mean, Kevin's episode was like okay, it was kind of boring. It wasn't as dramatic as Randall's.
Oh yeah,
So I
Randall's
mean,
was.
ready for the drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was that. Some two other shows that I have been watching is one called The Outsider on HBO. It's so fucking weird. Um,
No clue what that is.
it's so I didn't either. I think whenever I would watch some movie or show on HBO, I think it was when I was watching what was I watching on HBO? Something. I would they would have commercials for a show called The Outsider, and all I knew was that Jason Bateman was in it. And then I didn't know anything else, but then I was like, well, I think I was sick or something, and I was looking for something to watch, and so I just found that one, and it is intense. The first 20 minutes, I think it's like 10 or 20 minutes, it is it just gets you going because it's I can't I don't want to describe it without like by giving spoilers. So I will just say it is very disturbing within the first 10 minutes.
Oh.
But you're like intrigued because you want to know what happened, why it happened. In each episode, you get more confused. Um, and then I think mom watches it too, and I think I'm like her where we started watching it and I didn't realize it was a Stephen King book.
Oh.
So
That
then I
that
was
would
like,
explain the
weirdness.
disturbing.
There's gonna be some aliens probably. It's gonna get weird. I already know that. Um, but I'm excited. I like it a lot. It is interesting. It's very dark. Like HBO does a lot of dark shows. But yeah. So I've been watching that. A more lighter show is a show called Next in Fashion on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically Project Runway, but with Tan France. It's really interesting how they do it though. So I would just suggest watching that. I haven't finished it, and it's a competition show, so I don't want to really talk about it too much, because I don't want to give a lot away. But it, I really love the way they do the runway. The designers are not really unknowns. I feel like in Project Runway, a lot of them are not like super famous, but some of these are not like really famous, but they have some sort of name for themselves in fashion. So it's just an interesting show. I like to see people make stuff. It's one of those shows where you see people make something and you're really judgmental. You're like, why would they put that pleat there? But then you can't even tie like a scarf and make it look good. You know, it's like you don't have anything to really judge, but you're still super, super judgy. Like you can do that.
Mm,
And I love those kind of shows.
yeah.
And did I talk about seeing 1917?
I don't remember.
So I saw it. I think maybe I talked to you in person about it, but
I think that was it.
so I saw 1917 and to me I've heard a lot of people talk about it a lot and say how much they love it. And that it's a really good movie, and I don't really know why. I don't think it was a bad movie. I just don't
Yeah.
really it didn't amaze me. I just I was entertained somewhat. I think some parts were boring. I think the people I talked to, they say every single minute was used well, and I don't agree with that. I do like the one shot thing. I feel like it can be a little bit. I think that's a kind of a gimmick that people are using to make it better than it is, though.
I don't
Um,
think this did that though. It was pretty good
it
the way
was
they did it.
good, but I think that the way I'm not trying to I don't think the way the movie used it was gimmicky. I think that the way people are using it to make it to like elevate it. Like it was
Uh,
good, but
uh,
it wasn't that good, in my opinion.
I don't think it's Best Picture.
No, me neither. I can't, in good conscience, watch Parasite, then watch this movie and say it's better. It isn't. I mean, I don't know. We were just talking about this. I was just at a book club, and we were just talking about this movie, and somebody kind of brought up a good point where they said there's been so many. There's like every year there's only like a handful of movies that are really good. And they were saying, why don't they just release the handful of good movies and don't release the like bad ones? And I thought that was an interesting take. And they were saying like I watched like when I watched the movie 1917, I just thought, okay, there's no if you see this movie, there's no excuse to make a bad movie anymore, which I kind of agree with. Like once every filmmaker is going to watch Parasite, I feel like you just have to. There's no excuse not to make a movie that's really good after seeing that movie. And I think that's why, to me, in my mind, because those two are the front runners for an Oscar, I've been comparing them, and I just don't see how in any world 1917 is comparable to Parasite. It is like leagues above it to me. So yeah, that's my take, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I
It
already
was
talked about it, so I don't want
Yeah, it was it was also a weird day, so maybe that
to.
added to it, but yeah, it was good though. It was fine. It also, well, the last thing I'll say about it is the biggest compliment I can pay to any movie is that it felt like it was 20 minutes long. Like I felt like we were in and
Yeah,
out. It did not drag on, which was nice.
I can agree with that.
Okay, what have you seen?
Was there anything else besides movies?
Um, Not that I can think of. I'm sure there was, but
Um,
oh, sorry, I do have one. Um, Yesterday I watched Just Mercy.
oh, how was it?
Because bringing a book club, we were supposed to read the book Just Mercy. It's hard for me to get into nonfictions though, so I did not finish it. So I was like, I'll just go see the movie. And
It's
I
like in
really
high
liked
school.
it. Exactly. I really liked it. It was Michael B. Jordan was okay in it. Jamie Foxx was amazing in it, but like I don't know why. I think it's because he's also a comedian, which is something that's like my problem. I just don't. I keep forgetting that he's such a good actor, that he's like an Academy Award winning actor until he does these movies where I'm used to seeing him, like singing or being funny. And then I watched him in this movie and I was like, oh shit, he's an actor. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
really good. I cried a lot. Because it's a really heavy subject, but I would
Oh
definitely
yeah,
recommend.
for sure.
It's very good. I would recommend.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. There's a lot that I want to watch, but I don't really have a lot of time. Uh, the semester's kicking in. I found out today that my first exam is a week from today, so I was like,
Cool.
oh snaps. Yeah, so I'm gonna be doing that a whole lot, just preparing. But the things that I have watched since the last episode, I watched The Gentleman. Uh, this one, I prefaced it with Kayla. I was like, "Hey, you want to go see a bad movie with me?" So I didn't have really good expectations. But it surprised me somewhat. Like I just thought it was gonna be a knockoff of Kingsman, but it was a little bit more. Uh,
You would think they
it
would
was a little
change
bit.
up the marketing a little bit to make it not look like that, but it looks exactly like a Kingsman movie. That's what I thought for the longest time until somebody made a joke about it. I thought it was a spin-off.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But it was enough to be different, you know. Like I after seeing it, they're not even in the same universe. But it was a little bit too much at the end. Uh, like there was too. I don't want to spoil it, but it was a little bit too much towards the end. Uh, but I like the way the story was told. But Kayla really liked it, so I think if you don't go in with any expectations, this is. I think I'm just gonna say this again and leave it at that. Like I don't have any expectations going to movies unless they're huge, like Batman or or I don't know. Unless I do my research beforehand, I don't have any expectations going into it. Um, but yeah, I saw that. I saw Spies in Disguise,
Oh my god.
which is the animated one with Will Smith and Tom Holland. That one also had no expectations. I knew it was just going to be a good time. So, I mean, it was pretty much just that. I mean, you're not getting a whole lot from it just because the story wasn't that deep, but it was pretty funny. Like I laughed a couple of times, like audibly, not just the nose thing. But me and Kayla and this one other family were the only ones in the theater. I thought we were gonna be the only ones because when we bought it, we got first choice pretty much. But it was also pretty predictable, the movie. So, I don't know if I'd recommend it to go see it. If you have kids, then maybe. But yeah, it wasn't. I feel like animated movies, this movies, how long has it been out? I feel like it's been out forever.
Hmm.
But that's like the perfect time to bring your kids because no one's there. So they can just be really loud. So yeah, they were also kind of loud, the kids. They were just like kind of yelling, but
That's annoying
whatever.
though. Even no matter what time whenever I have kids, no matter when I bring them, I'm going to teach them how to be respectful in movie theaters. Because that's a big pet peeve of mine. I mean, I get that kids will be kids and there's like a certain expectation you should have when you go to a children's movie, but like, I feel like kids are also capable of sitting still and being entertained for at least 2 hours.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, it didn't bother me. It was kind of funny.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been to, I think, I forgot what movie it was, but I've been to a couple where the kids were like, I think Incredibles 2, where some of them were like saying stuff and they were excited. So they say, like, that's fine. But if you're like running around and yelling, then that needs to be stopped.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those are the only two that I saw this past week. But um, some movies that I do want to watch, rewatch slash watch this weekend. Birds of Prey comes out. Are you gonna go watch it?
Oh, I didn't know it was this weekend. So I didn't want to, cause fuck DC, but
Oh,
there's one reason that I want to see it now.
Ian McGregor.
Oh, two reasons. Um, number one, Ewan McGregor. Two is that there is this clip going around on Twitter. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
Okay. So there's this clip going around of a fight scene where in the middle of it, Harley Quinn and I don't know who's fighting with her. It's another woman. She stops and asks the girl if she wants a hair tie, and she takes it and ties her hair up.
What the?
That just makes me want to go see it because that's such a like. And I think the tweet was, a woman wrote this.
Yeah.
Whenever you stop in the middle of the scene to so she can give her like a hair tie so she can tie her hair up.
That's funny.
So now I kind of want to see it, and I've also heard um a lot of good things about it. So I wouldn't mind seeing it. I'm pretty sure Sebastian wants to see it, so probably.
Yeah, so I want to see that, and I want to rewatch Dodgeball because that's such a funny movie. If you guys haven't seen that, Dodgeball, a true underdog story with Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller, an instant classic. Gotta watch it, and I really want to watch it again. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, just school's kind of eating up my time, so back on that uh that education grind,
Rise and
but
grind.
rising grind.
Okay. So I
Oh,
have.
I also
Oh,
saw Booksmart.
oh,
Forgot about that. But
same.
continue.
Um, so I have some. Before we get into Booksmart, I have some movie news.
Yes.
Alrighty. So I have two quick ones and then one that we can see if we will have time for. So the first one is, so we're already excited for Tenet, right? That's like gonna be the big one of the year. But another
Oh
one
yeah. Sure.
is The French Dispatch by Wes Anderson.
Mm, I've heard about this.
About a week ago, they announced a release date. So it's going to come out July 24th. And I don't know if there's much um, about it yet. I think I did read what was gonna, like, what it was going to be about, but I kind of like how you've just been not having any context for movies. I kind of want to also go into it without any context. So I haven't
Yeah.
researched any of it, but that's just another one that I guess we can be excited for if you are in the Henderson Wes Anderson hive.
Yeah, I like him. He's a good director.
Another one that is very funny to me that I didn't realize is happening is that there has been in the works for a very long time a new The Crow, like a reboot.
Yeah.
And about I think also a week ago, Sony announced that it is back into development. And I
Ah.
haven't seen like how much it's been in and out of development, but all the tweets like that, all the people that were replying are basically like, whatever, dude, this is not gonna happen. And so just I guess we can follow that saga because we already watched the original, might as well watch the reboot if it ever happens.
That'd be
Um,
so cool. So funny.
but yeah, I hope they don't do it.
Oh yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
I think it does. The storyline, at least, or the guy himself has a potential to be a good movie. I think if they make it
Well,
super dark, I feel like this one was like trying to be a dark movie, but it didn't really achieve that. It was kind of cheesy.
the thing is, like, when I did research on the actual character, it doesn't even have to be a dude. It could be, like, it doesn't
Oh,
have to be that specific character. It can be anyone. Like, the Raven can bring back anyone or be anyone, pretty much.
that would be interesting if it followed more than one person.
Yeah, because that that storyline is like the original, I believe, the original Crow, but I said Raven, but it's the Crow. Let me just go back and redact that.
I was gonna ask, but I was like, well, I don't know.
But yeah, but the Crow can bring back. I believe it's like that's the thing that gives him his power.
Interesting.
So it could be someone else. It doesn't have to be. I don't remember his name, but that guy, that character. But so that would be cool if they chose to go in a different direction with someone else. Oh, I think that would probably be the best way to go about it because you know you know how it be.
All right. Time-wise, I'll go through these quickly, but so Sundance has just happened. I think it ended last week. And I usually love to look at what the favorites are of the festival. It can kind of tell. I think Sundance actually is one of the first or the first film festival to happen of the like film season, basically. Um, Sorry, my charger dropped. Give me a second.
You're fine.
Okay, so it's the first film festival to happen of the year, and it basically is the first chance at a film to be kind of entered into the awards season, which sounds weird because it doesn't happen. Like the Oscars for this year haven't even happened. But if I guess this will sound kind of like I'm talking down to people, but I'm just gonna keep explaining and over explaining because hopefully somebody finds this interesting. But basically, at a film festival, these are all typically independent movies. Well, all of them are independent movies, but typically, once they're entered into the festival and once they're shown, they're not bought for distribution yet. Some of them, like I think Netflix has been doing a couple every year where they're already going to stream it. So they show it at Sundance and then they stream it like the following week, or sometimes like Paramount will already have bought a film and they're going to release it later this year. So basically, these are all the films that are submitted, made by filmmakers, small independent filmmakers, and they're submitted, accepted. There's a whole like process, and then they get to go through the distribution process, and then they get to go through the award season, whatever. So this being the first of the year, I think it'd be interesting to kind of follow some of them. And I kind of am weary about looking at these lists of like the top 10 Sundance movies because there's a very common thing about film festival culture that when you're there, like when a critic is there watching a movie or when just like bystanders, not bystanders, but when just regular people go and watch a movie at a film festival, they kind of overhype it because a film festival is a very exciting environment and every single movie you watch can kind of feel like the best thing you've ever seen. If you know what I mean, like, you go to a
Yeah.
concert and you're like, this is amazing. This is the best concert. These people are such amazing artists live. And then you see you see it again like a year later and you're like, oh, that actually wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Um, and this is kind of the same thing. Like there are some movies like Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. Like that was one of the biggest festival darlings, is kind of what they call it, of that year. And then it fizzled out and it didn't get nominated for anything and everybody forgot about it. Or Us. Us was shown at South by and then nothing. Like so we kind of can take these with a grain of salt. Was that confusing? Was I like rambling?
No, no, that makes sense.
Okay. So I personally like to look at these and I like to kind of follow them and see like what goes through and stays throughout the year. And so the first one is called Black Bear, and it's a scathingly good comedy of manners that evolves into something much deeper and weirder. It's experimental filmmaking that edges towards trickery without ever feeling manipulative. And I won't get more into it because I feel like it gets into spoiler territory, but it has Christopher Abbott, Sarah Gadon, and Aubrey
Oh,
Plaza, who they
Plaza.
say is very
Oh,
good.
I follow her. I remember seeing that. That's why it sounded familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the one, this one and two other ones that I've actually heard a lot about in the last few weeks. So
I think I know
Black
another
Bear,
one.
yeah, probably. And two other ones that I'm going to talk about that are on this list are the ones that I am personally looking forward to. Okay, and so the next one is called I Carry You With Me. And this review says, I wandered through the bulk of I Carry You With Me. I wondered why it landed in Sundance's avant-garde next section. So quick side note. So usually film festivals will have different genres or different categories. And so this one is an avant-garde, and that usually means, I think the word that you was used earlier is this kind of best way to phrase it is kind of experimental, like weird. And usually these are midnight screenings. I don't know if this one was, but just to give you some like background.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this person says that most of the film played as if it was a conventional romance. But without spoiling anything, the film approaches a galvanizingly risky formal territory in its final act. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Jesus Camp. It's a
I have not.
documentary. It's a very disturbing documentary. And it's not like disturbing in a gross way. It is just about um, a very religious camp for children, and it just gets very weird. Um, but this is that director's narrative debut, and so basically it's a story of two Mexican men whose love for one another crosses class divides and the US-Mexico border, and decades of struggle is told with the heartbreaking intimacy and political urgency.
Ooh.
So
Now
I know,
that
spicy.
sounds, yeah, spicy because they're Mexican.
Oh God.
Continue.
Exactly. And then the next one is called Minari.
Oh, this is not what I thought you were gonna say.
Yeah, this was actually this is the second one that I was referring to that I'm looking forward to. And so it's A24. They're backing it. So expectations are already pretty high.
Of
And
course.
it's memoiristic family drama by Lee Isaac Chung. And skimming over, let me see. So it won both the jury and audience prizes in the dramatic competition.
Ooh.
And it's a film that paints a portrait of a Korean American's family's move from California to rural Arkansas. And I think Stephen Yun is in it.
Oh,
So
right
there's
on.
that. And then the next movie is Miss Juneteenth. And it is a movie that follows a former beauty queen, Turquoise, trying to push her reluctant daughter down the same path in hopes she can follow it beyond the winning title of Miss Juneteenth, unlike Turquoise herself. And it's a slow-burning southern drama of mothers and daughters' hopes and regrets. So yeah,
Is that it?
I have 10.
Oh, I see.
The next one is Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, which is my favorite title. And it's about a teenager's journey to get an abortion. And this one was awarded a special jury prize for neorealism.
Dang.
Um,
What's the title? Never Real, Always.
Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always.
That's cool.
The next one is 9 Days, and it's from a Japanese Brazilian filmmaker named Edison Oda, which is a very cool name. Or Edson Oda, my bad. Um, and it's a movie that maps the human soul. That's all they said.
Are
And
these
it
in it?
has,
Oh, you
sorry,
keep on going.
it
I'll
has
ask after.
Zazie Beetz. I don't know if that's how you say her name. Bill Skarsgård and Tony Hale.
Mm.
Yeah.
The Scar is guard.
Um, oh, actually, I have four because this one I'm also looking forward to. It's called Promising Young Woman. And the trailer's already out. It has Carey Mulligan. And basically, it's a female revenge fantasy with a blood red cherry on top.
Ooh, these are good like descriptions or
I know.
interest.
That I did not write. Okay. The next one is On the Record. So, documentarians Kirby Dick and Amy Ziering have made it their unviable business to track a culture of sexual assault through various settings on screen. College campuses in 2015's Hunting Ground, which I've seen and is very good. The military in 2012's Invisible War, which I've also seen. And now they're moving on to the music industry. Specifically, Record is about serious, serious serious serial allegations against hip hop mogul Russell Simmons. Through the film's lens, though the film's lens widens to include the pace. Oh my God, I can't read. Though the film's lens widens to include the place of women of color. God, I can't read. Basically, it talks about Russell Simmons specifically, and then it also talks about um, women of color in the Me Too movement. And it has a bunch of first person testimonies. Can you cut out that part? I was just messing up the entire sentence.
I can if you want, but it's awesome.
Me messing up?
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. All right. The next one, I have two more and then we're done. The next one is Shirley. And it's a biopic about Shirley Jackson, which I don't know who that is. Um,
Oh, that name sounds familiar.
Let me see. Elizabeth Moss is in it, which I love her. And she plays Shirley. And yeah, so it says
Oh,
Elizabeth Moss. Whoa. Elizabeth Moss does career best work as film's eponymous. God, heroine. Why can't they use regular words? Whether she's unfurling a withering insult at a dinner table or lying still in one of Decker's many arresting, composed shots while an ambiguous set of final scenes imbues the film with thrilling complexity. Oh, it's
What?
about a horror author.
Yeah, Shirley Jack. What has she written that I have read?
I don't know.
Did she write The Lottery?
Maybe, I don't know.
She did.
But I guess it's like a take on her, but the way that she would have written it, or I don't know if that's exactly it,
But yeah, she
but
wrote The
yeah.
Lottery. That's a good short story.
Okay, and the last one is one you probably were thinking I was going to talk about is Zola.
No, not that.
Okay. But this is the one that I think is the most anticipated, at least from Twitter, because it is so 4.5 years after the tale of a Florida stripping weekend gone awry that went viral on Twitter. This movie adaptation of it is proven to be an even better retelling of that original Twitter thread. So it's a movie based off of a Twitter thread.
Whoa,
Right?
that's 2020 right there.
I mean, that was like we knew that was going to happen one day, but I'm excited for it to actually like be in theaters.
That's 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 cool.
Yep.
Twitter's wildest thread.
And I haven't read it, so I wonder if I should.
Maybe.
Okay, this podcast might get long though. As a side note, Anthony, if you want to cut out that Sundance stuff, I wouldn't be mad.
Uh, now we'll leave it.
Okay. All
I
right.
I thought you were gonna mention a horse girl. Do
Oh, no,
you know
I
Horse
thought,
Girl?
yeah, it's not on the list.
But it did premiere at Sundance,
I know, but
and
it's
it's
not
Mark
the top 10.
Duplass. Top 10 according to who?
According to the website I found.
Oh my gosh, you don't
So
even
who
have a name.
knows? Well, that's another one there. You put it yourself. Horse Girl is another one that we can be on the look for.
Alison Brie, Mark Duplass isn't in it, but he's like a
I think he
part of it.
probably produced it.
Yeah.
All right. So now, after stumbling my way through reading those descriptions, but I will say that was pretty good for not reading them before. I think that's why I messed up so much because I just like didn't read them. I
I
just
thought
read them right now.
I didn't know you were gonna read all 10. I thought you were just gonna read the 4 that you were interested in.
No, I wanted to do all 10.
Mm. Yeah, I'll leave it in. That's fine. I mean,
You can cut them out if you want. You can cut out the ones besides Zola, Minari, and
no, I want everyone to hear your mistakes. I need
why?
them to hear your mistakes.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
Unless you want me to cut them out, I won't cut them out.
If it sounds really bad.
Nah, it didn't. I heard
Okay.
everything.
All right.
Now
Hey,
to this
I challenge
episode.
you to start a podcast and then read something that you've never read beforehand out loud and try not to mess up. Alrighty.
Who, Mom?
Now I will stumble through the retelling of Booksmart.
Look smart.
So Booksmart came out. I should make you do this shit, but I'll do it.
Interior day.
All right. Okay. So Booksmart came out last year, directed by Olivia Wilde, which is her directorial debut. It's her first movie.
That's a good one too. That's
A
a
very good start.
very good start.
Okay, and the principal cast, this is I got this from IMDb, but this is wild that this is the first 4 people that they would list. But Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein, which are the first two, which are the main 2 characters.
Mm-hmm.
Then Jessica Williams and Jason Sudeikis. And I think Jason Sudeikis is in this movie for a total of like 10 minutes.
He's one of the funniest. Nah, he's not one of the funniest.
No, he's not.
He's pretty funny though in it. Like
he's
when
fine.
he's in it, he's kind of funny. Just when they're in his car, it's so funny. That's the funniest part.
Okay. All right. So, the plot. On the eve of their high school graduation, two academic superstars and best friends realize they should have worked less and played more. Determined not to fall short of their peers, the girls try to cram 4 years of fun into one night. The estimated budget was $6 million. Opening weekend, they made over 6 million, close to 7, which is not great.
I mean, it's also not bad. They made their money back
It's not
opening
bad, but
weekend.
yeah, but we can talk about this a little bit later because it kind of goes into the like reception of it because it was overwhelmingly critically acclaimed, but it wasn't like nobody really went to go see it.
Yeah, that's kind
Which
of like a
sounds
trend.
Yeah, which sounds crazy to say because it made $6 million, but like over the grand scheme of things, like what other movies are making, it didn't really make a dent. But it has grossed over $22 million.
You know what's
Okay.
crazy? Opening weekend, how much did Cats make?
I don't even know if I want to know that. Look it up while I read the reception. So for the top three, like critic aggregate sites, IMDb gave it a 7.2 out of 10. It got a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it had an 84% on Metacritic.
That 97% on Rotten, is that critics or audience?
Or critics. I don't look at the audience score.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Cats made 6.5, around 6.5.
Million?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how much did it cost?
Oh, it cost like 190, I think, or something, or like
See, and
90.
that was a flop. So this was technically also a flop. Not in like a critical way. It just, to be real, it just didn't make money. But we can
Yeah.
get into that later because I have some thoughts about that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
whatever.
do you want to do fun facts now or do you want to do it after?
We'll do after.
Okay. Did you
Let's get
take
into it.
notes?
I did not. I did not.
All right, I did. So
I saw.
I have a lot of notes actually.
I'm glad I didn't take notes.
All right, so my first note was this was not in the fun facts, but I just knew this. Um, the voice at the beginning, so the very first voice that we hear is the voice of Maya Rudolph.
Yeah, she's like giving. What is like a prep? It's like a hype
Like a
tape
pep talk.
almost. Yeah.
And
I
it's a
didn't know that was
very
Maya Rudolph though.
once you watch it again and you know it's her, you can hear it.
Mm.
Okay, and then this was just a note for me, but I spotted an IKEA furniture.
Oh my. And IKEA furniture.
And IKEA furniture. Her chair, her like computer desk chair,
Oh,
is IKEA.
dumb.
Um. Oh, and I also. Oh, okay. So this one we can get into because it's the first time that I noticed how much I love the music in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way, and this is a theme throughout the movie, so we're going to talk about this a lot, but just how they transition scenes with music and just the way that they use it to kind of elevate the scene that they're showing is so genius.
Oh, in the first 10 minutes, when I don't remember the name of her.
Amy?
Uh, Amy. Yeah, she picks up, or who? Which one is Amy?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Uh, man.
Is it Amy
What
and
when
Molly?
they? Oh yes,
So Amy
Amy and
is Molly is Jonah Hill's sister.
Yes,
Amy
yes,
is her
yes.
friend.
So Amy's picking up Molly for school for their last day of school, and she starts dancing. Molly starts dancing, and the music starts playing, and then it cuts whenever Amy gets out of the car and starts dancing too, and then you just see them both awkwardly dancing to silence, and
Yes.
that was the first thing, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is a good movie.
This is gonna be a great movie.
Yeah.
um, okay, the next one is a personal note. My best friend was also class president and he did not get a parking spot, which is a travesty, and I will be emailing our high school.
What are they gonna do now?
I don't know. Okay, so this kind of goes into something that you told me that Dad told you, that he did not realize that that was Jonah Hill's sister. And
Oh yeah.
I already knew before, but what reinstated the fact that she was his sister was the way that she would shout. I want
They're identical.
the exact same. I want somebody, and by somebody I mean you, to kind of super cut a just them screaming back to back,
Oh, I can
because
make that happen.
it is exactly the same from Superbad. I don't know if somebody bumps into him in Superbad like in Booksmart, but there's a part in Superbad that I'm thinking of that and which is cool that we've already seen it, so it wouldn't be as like crazy to do this, but it's exactly the same. And a lot this movie gets compared to Superbad a lot, and I think in a lot of ways it's similar. And this one is the most glaring similarity is that it's basically the same person. But yeah.
Yeah,
I just
they're
think it's
very
funny.
similar.
I think it's funny that nobody knows. And I also would one thing that I thought of is, and I think I've talked about it before when we were watching Superbad, is I would always wonder if she was annoyed by the comparisons because she's like, this is my movie, I'm not him. But if you listen to any interviews of either of them, they're so loving with each other, and they're so like nice every time somebody brought him up, she would always just like gush about him and talk about how much she's honored to be like compared to him.
Hmm. That's nice.
Which I would not be like, so I like admire that.
Yeah, that's cool. I
um
mean, the movies they're similar in the concept or in the idea, but they're drastically different
and they're very
in
of their
execution.
own time.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. What was I gonna say? I had something to say. Oh, I don't know. But yeah. So I just think it's funny that nobody or that Dad didn't know that. My next note is Noah Galvin. I think that's his name. I didn't look it up because I was like super sure that this was his name. But he's the guy with round glasses.
Mm, yeah.
He is the to me the best part of this movie. His line delivery is flawless. And I
He's
put
super
my
funny.
note is that he's truly my hero. He is so fucking funny. Every time I see him on screen, I just smile so hard because I love him
Yeah,
so
that's
much.
Noah Galvin.
Um, but yeah, he was the highlight to me. Um, I also love that these high school kids actually look like high school kids because that's a huge pet peeve of mine. I think I talked about it before, but in that movie To All the Boys I Loved Before, that they put the fact that they put King Batch as a high schooler
Oh
doesn't
my
make any
gosh.
fucking sense.
Don't even don't even start with King Batch, bro.
I know, but that was like he's so obviously like 37, and the fact that you thought he looked like a high schooler, it just baffles me.
But
And I
even that
also sorry.
Hugo. We
No,
gotta figure this out. We always cut each other out.
it's okay, you can go.
I don't know his name, but the guy with the really long hair. What's his name?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Is it?
I have no idea.
I don't know his name, but he's the only one that I'm like, is he in high school? But then it's like a joke in the movie where they say, or Eduardo Franco, that's his name. But Molly says to him like, you failed the seventh grade 3 times.
He's like rule of threes, man.
Yeah,
Which I don't know what that means.
like, isn't it like everything happens in threes? Like celebrities die in threes. Like events
Yeah, but
happen
that
in
doesn't
threes.
apply.
That's the joke. God. Oh
I don't
my god. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and my next note was mostly a question to you. Do kids in high school today have such a fully formed sense of style?
Mm,
because how I dressed back then was very shitty and also not how I dress now. And I feel like everybody in this movie was so well dressed.
Well, it could also have been the location. I feel like kids in
Oh, true.
Texas, you know, the
Yeah.
yeehaw
Okay,
versus
so that
kids in
was
LA.
Yeehaw. So the next part that I'm in is when she overhears them talking shit about her, and I don't know what I would do.
Yeah,
Like, I
that's
don't know
a
if I would
tough one.
just stay in the restroom, if I would like get out like she did. I don't know.
Well, I think I'd do something similar to what she did, because she like went out and just washed her hands. She's like, "Oh, don't stop on my account." But then she started talking to them and like started dissing it again. I don't think I'd be bold enough to do that. I'd probably be like, "Wow, guys, that hurt," and just walk out or something, something dumb.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have the confidence to give a retort back.
I feel like in my perfect world, I probably would just like wait until they left, but in the perfect world, I would just like go and like stare at them and walk up to them and be like, "Who are we talking about?" Like I think I would try to make a joke or something, but I
Yeah,
probably wouldn't.
a toughie.
Okay, and my next note is a little controversial. Not really, but the one thing that really stood out to me when I first watched this movie was the idea of all these kids from a public school getting into Ivy Leagues, which is not unheard of. Like I'm not saying that's like crazy. Um, but from my perspective, it is a little bit because to give background, I guess, on me and you, we went to an early college high school. So it still was a public high school. I'm not going to talk shit about public high schools, but we went to one where we went to high school. We got a distinguished diploma, which I still don't know what that means. And at the same time, within 4 years, we also got an associate's degree. And it is as hard as everybody would think it is. But a lot of the kids that went to our school, I can't think of one person that went to an Ivy League. And so the fact that all these kids would get into one, and maybe that's part of the joke, it's like a big, they're making it bigger than it actually would be to make it funnier. But it just made me think about the conversation that people are having around this movie about privilege and how it's I feel like in this movie it's not really a glaring thing and it kind of is a little bit believable because like you said it's in California, so you can kind of in a way assume that a lot of these kids, if they didn't earn it from like a scholarship like with sports like that one kid did, or if they didn't just not go to school and go straight to Google, which I know that happens, that some of these kids already have like parents that went to these Ivy Leagues, which is not something that would happen in where we came from. Um, so I don't know. I
Yeah.
wonder if that stood out to you because especially for you because we watched this movie around the time that you're in college. So I'm wondering what you think.
Oh, I definitely noticed that. I was like, damn, like how are you?
Like,
Like,
what school is this?
yeah, yeah. Also, if they're like the whole thing is that they're not good students, and that's why Molly is so upset is that they're bad people in school. Like, how did this happen? I feel like it was just heightened because of that to emphasize that fact.
Yeah.
Because Amy says when they go to the hospital or the hospital, when they go to the school for the like in the morning and they go to the principal's office, and then he asks where they're going in the fall or something like that, and Amy's like, "Well, we made that rule to not tell anyone where we're going to school because we don't want anyone to be or discomforted." I realize that's like just foreshadowing because that's how exactly what happened. Everyone she found out, and the reason that they like that it all happened for them, like reverse of what they thought it was gonna happen. Like they thought they were gonna find out that everyone's going to like community college or whatever. But yeah, it did surprise me that specifically all the group, the like the bad people or the bad students got all into these Ivy Leagues. But I mean, someone's got to get into these schools, right? I mean,
Yeah, but to me, and I like that part of the movie that they use that to kind of show like she put these people in a box and they were more than what she thought they were. And that's the whole point of the movie. But to me, I feel like they're kind of missing something by just like saying, oh, she's going to Harvard, he's going to Georgetown, they're going to Stanford. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they don't really give anybody the chance to like show how good a community college is or show, like show that some people don't have the chance to do that. And I guess what I kind of thought of is not every movie. I kind of have to like think and understand that not every movie has to serve that purpose. Like maybe this movie's fight wasn't to do that, which is totally fine. They don't have to. I would love for them to address, the class structure of high school, but they don't really, that's not the point of this movie. And I will give them that. But it is interesting to think about. And I think the only solution that I came up with for that is to just make a movie about your experience. And that does sound like really easy to do, I guess. Or it sounds easy, but it's not easy at all. But that just goes back into representation that the people that made this movie, they probably had that experience where the school they went to, everybody went to a really amazing school. I didn't go through that, and we were all like 17 getting associate's degrees. Like I feel like that should be like something worth getting into an at least decent school, but that's not necessarily what happened.
yeah,
So it is an interesting experience, and like I feel like maybe that's why a lot of the high school movies that I see, which maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of them that I see, they don't reflect what I went through at all.
I don't even. Yeah, high school was a weird time. I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. I
I
just thought it was something I
also
wanted to address.
I I I didn't. I saw this movie and I wasn't like that wasn't like my high school experience. Like it was just I feel like I know my experience in high school wasn't the normal thing, but I
Yeah.
also can recognize that maybe that wasn't normal. All these kids getting into Ivy, getting into Google, but I don't know. It was funny at the end of
Yeah.
the day, so
Yeah, and like I said, I think I just had to like come to the conclusion that not every movie has to do everything you want it to. So like I said, like I would have liked for them to address that. That's not really what this movie's purpose was. So I'm not really mad that it didn't at the end of the day. But I just wanted to like because that thought popped into my head, I didn't want to just like brush it off and not want to talk about it. I
yeah,
did want to, cuz that's probably something that somebody listening to this thought about. So, yeah.
hey, the
What
smartest thing
about?
to do is go to community college.
I
Super
mean,
cheap, bro.
super cheap, and it's a really good environment. It's a really good transition. I don't know, but that's not this podcast.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Um, oh, and now we're getting to them deciding to go to this party because they had that whole breakdown where they decided that Molly decided they were going to go and try to party because they didn't party. She was like, I think she said that they were the assholes that didn't do both. And
Yeah.
so they wanted to, like, their last night of high school, they wanted to try to do something um rebellious. So when they're about to leave, I fucking love Amy's parents. I think it's perfect casting to have Lisa Kudrow and
Mm.
Will Forte. But I also
Yeah.
want Will Forte to be in everything. I love him so much. I think one of the best lines in this entire movie was when when he was like describing all the stuff they made, and he said, cheese and salam, me being your dad was the greatest honor of my life. Just the way he read that line was perfection.
Mm. He's really funny as a dad. I think he's the dad in Good Boys too, and he's really funny in that.
Oh, is he?
I think so. I could be extremely wrong on that.
Okay, and so my notes kind of skip around a lot, and this one skips whenever they try to find the party. So they get, I think it's Jared. Is it
Yeah.
Jared? So they get him to take them, but he takes them to his party, which is empty. And then they end up going to a murder mystery party. Did you want to talk about any other stuff? Because I skip a lot.
Nah, I got nothing.
Okay. And my note was that I think I would much rather go to a murder mystery party, especially that one. Just the way that it starts as soon as you walk in
I
is
wonder
amazing.
times how many times that guy did the whole.
Oh, the entire monologue.
Yeah.
I also love that entire scene. I didn't have any notes, I think, for I like my next note is about whenever they get picked up at the pizza place because I feel like that entire murder mystery scene is just amazing. I love that whole scene. Probably because my king Noah is in it. But just the way that they accidentally go into the room where his family's doing a puzzle.
Oh, he's like yelling it,
It's
or
like, don't talk to the actors.
like whisper yelling at his sister.
She flips him off. And then Gigi. Oh, we haven't even talked about her. She's fucking amazing.
Oh
Dad said
yeah,
that was her favorite. That was his favorite part of the movie is her.
yeah, because she's just showing up at random. She was at the boat party because she's, I guess, friends with Jared, not really
They're like
dating
best
Jared.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she jumps off and then ends up at the murder. She just pops up at every party that they go throughout the night.
And just that back and forth where they ask, "Why are you here?" And she's like, "Why are you here? Why aren't you wet? Why aren't you wet?" Just very funny. Okay, and so my notes kind of skip the part where which is a big part. I don't know why I didn't take any notes, but when they kind of covered, or they decided to finally stop fucking around and go to the party. Oh, because we find out that Molly likes Nick, her vice president that she'd been talking shit about the entire night,
The
that she has a
jock.
crush on him. Yeah. And then that's when Amy's like, we're gonna fucking go so you can get your man. And then they decide to do some research so that they can find the party because nobody's giving them the address. Then they decide not to ask, to intimidate the pizza delivery guy to give them the address.
Yeah, he delivered pizza to the party earlier in the night.
Yeah, like a bunch of them. And I like his line whenever they first introduce him and he's like, "Why would you order two half sausage, half cheese pizzas? Just order one sausage and one cheese pizza." I feel like that happens a lot. I don't know. I've never done that, but I feel like stupid people probably do that all the time.
You should do it. It's funny.
And then after he gives him the address, which is a pretty funny scene, because it kind of breaks down the whole like they had this plan about covering their face with their hair, and he kind of gives them a lot of shit for it. And he just breaks down their entire plan and how shitty it was. I like that a lot. Um, and then their cool teacher, which there's always a cool teacher,
Yeah.
comes and picks them up. Um, then she
Gives
takes them
them
to the
new
party.
clothes.
Yeah, and that was a weird line where she's like, "Well, I'm a woman in her 20s. I always got random shit in my car." And I also have random shit in my car. For the longest time, I had a printer that you gave me.
Oh yeah. So you
Um,
didn't like it because you felt attacked.
yeah, I have like a bunch of bras in there that I don't want. I have a laundry basket, a Blu-ray player, tote bags. Recently found a shoe that I was looking for. But yeah, and I also she had a small car. I have a Pilot.
Oh yeah, that's
There's a lot of room for just random shit. Um, Oh, and then they enter the party, and when she sees Nick, there's this amazing dance sequence
Oh,
that when I first saw it, I know it's kind of weird. I think whenever I was watching with Dad, he was like, "What?" But I loved it. I remember when I saw it in theaters, I was in awe.
aw,
Yeah, because I've never seen anything like that.
just I feel like that's like whenever you see your crush and then, or in movies, they see their crush and then they just imagine stuff. You just taking that a step further.
Yeah, and they like it reminds me of what Bo Burnham did for eighth grade, where he was very respectful of teens' emotions, where he heightened them so that we can feel it, but he never made fun of them. So
Yeah.
he, or in this movie at least, Olivia Wilde did a great job of, like, even when Amy sees Ryan for the first time, where there's, close-ups of her and there's like all this, there's this great music and I don't know, I like the way that they make us feel what they're feeling in the way that they want to feel it. Because I feel like Amy is very musical. She, she's very visual. She like watches and because she said like she like made a comment about her chin and she was saying she just looks like really cool and she made this whole backstory. And I feel like Molly is somebody that likes to dramatize a lot of things. Like instead of just, closing in and seeing him with music, she wants to have an entire dance number.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the way that they present both of their crushes is also very it heightens it obviously, but it's also very telling of who they are as people.
I didn't even think of it like that. That's a good insight.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and then when they enter the party, I think it's just very wholesome that for me, I was expecting everybody to be like, "Why are you here?" But everybody was so welcoming and they were actually excited to see them.
Yeah.
They took them in and he made them drinks and he was just saying how excited he was that they were there.
I probably felt bad because like 8 hours ago he was just talking all this shit.
Yeah, and there's this it feels very senior year to me. I feel like you're just happy your senior year, you're just nice to everybody, you don't really
Oh yeah.
care
It's the
what
night
happened in the
before graduation.
past. Yeah, I feel like there was part of that where he felt bad, but I think he also just was really excited to see them.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of dawning on you that you're not going to see these people a lot, especially not all together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh yeah. And I said Noah's back at it with karaoke. And I
he
want to do that song exactly how he did it
he
next time I
killed
do
it.
karaoke. Just the way he starts off, he's like,
It looked like he wanted to throw up, like he was about to.
so good. I hope that she just told him, like, just sing the song, and he did it exactly like that with the mic in his mouth and everything.
That'd be really funny. Honestly, not even far-fetched at all.
Oh, I would love that so much. And I also love, so next is when they go into the pool and the underwater scene is so beautiful. Like the music and how she's watching everybody have a great time. I love that part.
Mm.
But it stresses me out when people open their eyes in pools.
Oh
I hate
yeah.
it.
Here a extreme side note,
Yeah.
but I found out recently that whenever your eyes get red in pools, it's not from the chlorine, it's from the pee.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So
That's
I had to
disgusting.
figure that out and had that same reaction. I wanted everyone else to have that. I don't want to be alone on that because that's sad.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's disgusting.
just wanted
Ugh.
to yeah.
I also love going back to the music. I love how they play the song when she's having a great time, and then when she realizes that her crush is with somebody else, and not only somebody else, but Molly's crush,
Mm,
that it drops and it turns very. It is a very like dramatic switch, but
yeah.
it wasn't that noticeable. I feel like when I watched it the second time, I didn't realize that the song had ended until she got out of the pool.
Yeah, I mainly noticed the the camera movement because I mean it's obviously underwater, it's a lot more fluid. But when she gets out and it's like in front of her and real shaky, that was real nice. I really liked
Yeah.
that and noticed it.
And then how it follows her through the house when she's trying to look for
Mm,
Molly, like how panicky it is.
yeah, sporadic. I appreciated it. Noticed and appreciated that camera movement.
Okay, and then we get into my favorite scene of the entire movie, which is the fight scene.
Mm-hmm. That's a
And
good one.
I, it just is perfect to me. The
Yeah.
way that it focuses on them, it doesn't, you can see in the background the people like starting to notice what's happening and like kind of looking back, but also taking out their phone and recording, but the focus never like steers away from them. I feel like in another movie they would cut to like somebody showing like that they're taking their phone out, to kind of take the to kind of
Uh,
like show even more that it's happening instead of like giving it in front of your face, like giving you no chance to not see it.
yeah, the shot that they would use is they would use like
People
from a
talking.
perspective of someone else recording and it would just be the
Yes,
camera recording them. That's the shot that
exactly.
would be used. But
Yep.
yeah, the way they did it was perfect, where it kept it on them and it just kept on swiveling back and forth between them.
Yes. Oh, the way, yeah, because it didn't. Because I think for me, I would keep the camera steady, but the fact that they did that, I was like, oh, well, yeah, fuck me. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
So, and also, I think my favorite part, the way. So throughout this movie, we're already halfway through this movie. We're pretty deep in it, but the moment that I knew this movie was super special to me, at least, was whenever they cut out the audio of their fight
Oh
and it was
man.
silent
Heck yeah.
because you know exactly what they're saying.
Yeah.
But part of me was like, I'm glad they didn't play the audio because I think it's like too much because they're such good friends and you've taken this journey with them. You don't want to see them fight like this, and you know they're saying like really fucked up things to each other.
I
And that
I
last like fuck you can see it plain as day. Ugh.
I think it just makes it even more like powerful just because you're not listening to anything. You have to watch and see their facial expressions, and then you just see them like kind of both defeated, and then she runs off, and
Ugh.
yeah, that's a perfect moment.
And I really love the next couple of scenes. So they have where she kind of has a Amy kind of has a fight with that one girl with the like leather jacket or whatever she's wearing. But I also love the scene with Jared where we finally get to see like who he is.
Oh yeah,
And they could have easily just kept him as the quirky guy that always makes jokes, but I love that they gave him depth. And it really brings home the reason I think I love this movie so much is that each character gets that depth. Where the guy with long hair that was held back, he could have just been, one of the dumb guys that wanted to like sleep with his teacher, but then they gave him so much more. Or the guy that wears overalls backwards, or like just every character, it feels so real and such like so lived in. And the way that they just didn't keep one character, just uh one stereotype, you know what I mean? Sorry, took some water. But yeah, so I just love how they did that with Jared where he was like being really real with her. And yeah.
yeah, like that one character. What was her nickname?
Oh,
Mm,
Triple A.
yeah, her like that. That was after the party, but same thing where they gave her some more depth. Beyond Jared, he was like, what did he say? He said,
I just want to find people that like weird shit like me.
yeah,
Not
that, but
sexual.
he also said everyone You guys don't really think I slept with a prostitute when I was 14, right? Or something like that.
Or he defends Gigi too, which is really nice. And
Yeah.
or what he says, she threatened to. What did she say? She punched my mailman because
He
she
was
thought that
laughing
he
at
was
me.
laughing at me. He was just looking at a meme.
Yeah, on his phone. So
Um, okay. And so now I think it's time to get into the controversial bathroom scene.
mm.
So, this was one of the reasons you wanted to watch this, right? Or no?
It's a good movie, but also, yeah, yeah.
So, do you want to start, or I have some sources that I found.
Uh, well, the well, the only thing that I remember seeing is that was it Delta, their airline?
So, I have a little
They.
write up I can read if you want to
Oh
get
yeah,
booked.
go for it. Go for it. Go for
Okay. So, Whoa.
it. Can you read it?
I don't
Delta
know.
Airlines censored. All right,
Delta
take two.
Airlines. Delta Airlines removed several scenes from the movie's in-flight version, specifically those containing same-sex interactions. After viewers have pointed it out to director Olivia Wilde on Twitter, she said that she was heartbroken about the censorship, as those scenes are an integral part of the main character's journey. Wilde urged Delta to rectify their decision and pleaded to any other airline to do the same for similar movies. Soon afterwards, Delta announced that the scenes would be reinserted. So I also have an article about it. Um, and in the statement to the Hollywood Reporter, Delta said, "We are immediately putting a new process in place for managing content available through Delta's in-flight entertainment. Studios often provide videos in two forms, a theatrical original version with an edited version. We selected the edited version and now realize content well within our guidelines was unnecessarily excluded from both films." Oh, this one, yeah. We're working to make sure this doesn't happen again. So when they say both films, this happened to Booksmart and Rocket Man.
Oh, Rocket Man showed butts though. This just showed Amy and what's her name kissing.
But there are scenes where, let's see. Da, da, da. Um, In spite of Delta's reversal, the specific censorship of sexual expression is likely to continue without sweeping changes to the changes to the airline's policies. So basically what happened is that Delta uses a third party to edit their movies.
Yeah.
And this third party is not regulated within Delta's quote unquote guidelines. So basically they can determine whatever they think is appropriate or inappropriate for a wider audience that travels through airlines. Um, uh, Though these cuts actually benefit no one, neither of the film's theatrical cut is glaringly sexual in comparison to the vast number of films with heterosexual sex scenes, which Rocket Man shows butts, sure, but it doesn't, the sexual scenes in it don't really show as much as I've seen in edited versions of movies with heterosexual sex scenes. Um, so just I think the thing I understand that some people are like, oh, maybe if you're having maybe if a kid is next to you, right, and they see, but these movies don't have, it's not, they're sure, like, I don't know. I would see if the argument was maybe they take their shirts off or whatever, but
That doesn't even happen in this one.
I know, well, they do take their shirts off, but they have their bras on.
Mm.
But where that is not the argument here, because it is specifically targeted at um homosexual like relationships. For instance, they censor the words lesbian and vagina,
Oh.
but they do not censor the word fuck.
Wow.
So this is this is so like what the word? So it's so blatantly homophobic, like it's
It's
not
extremely
something that's,
targeted, yeah.
oh yeah, it's super like hyper targeted. So, like for instance, there was a bunch of tweets going around about people noticing these happening in different movies. So like Alaska Air, for example, silenced the word vagina in Fried Green Tomatoes. It's
Wow.
not an offensive word. I mean, if you're going to censor the word like fuck or shit or something, for I guess that would kind of make sense. Not really on planes because you listen with headphones, but I digress. But when you're targeting words like vagina, which is not a curse word, then that's when you throw out those whole like, oh, it's because they want to make it more appropriate. It's not about what's appropriate. It's about what they think is more like traditionally appropriate.
Yeah.
But sorry, what did you want to say about this whole?
Well, I think it's interesting to think of. I get that you're an airline and you get to pretty much regulate what you want to be shown, but like what
It
I don't
has to
know.
be
I
consistent.
Yeah, one consistent, but if you're not even if this third party vendor is editing and taking a look at all the content that you post, like wouldn't you want to know what they're taking out? I wonder if they get like a report on what they removed. It's like, oh no, this is fine. You can leave this in. Uh, I just if I'm gonna have a movie on an airline, I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know. It's a pretty it's a really interesting topic, and there's a lot to consider when I don't even know. That's the thing is I don't think they should have censored anything in this movie. There was nothing that I felt like went too far. Obviously, it's subjective, but there has to be some objectivity to it, you know?
Yeah,
I
and
don't
my whole
know.
thing too is I didn't realize that they use third parties. If you're going to say that a movie doesn't adhere to the guidelines of what's appropriate to your airline, that's fine. But I feel like that should be handled internally. Because, like
Yeah,
you said, they clearly are not viewing this. And if they are, then this is what they think is not appropriate. And so it should be consistent. If you're going to block out, I don't think they should. I'll preface it with that. They shouldn't block out anything. But if they're going to block the word vagina, I better not hear the word penis. If you know what I
yeah,
mean, if they don't let you say lesbian, then don't let you say gay. But like I don't think anybody should do that cuz like I don't know, the lines get blurry when you start to censor things like that.
yeah.
And
Uh,
like I said, I'm going to say it again, but I don't think you should be censoring those words, but if you're like I said, if you're gonna have guidelines for your own company, that's well within your rights, but why would it be so targeted to censor words that are not even offensive?
and even then, like you said, you're watching these movies with headphones on. It'd pretty much only be the person watching it who's able to hear it. I get censoring out images for the
Yeah.
safety of like any children there, but I mean, if you don't want your kid to don't watch Booksmart and hear those words, then don't let them watch it.
It's not like
You
they
know?
hide the rating from you. Like it's rated
Yeah,
R. You should know that you can't watch that
yeah,
with a kid around probably, or you shouldn't risk it at least.
but
I don't know.
yeah,
It's
I
it's
agree.
very stupid
I don't think you should
that
censor any like a director put or a team of people filmmakers put together a piece of media that they wanted you to see in its entirety. They didn't want it censored, and I feel like you lose some of its You definitely lose some of its essence when you censor it. So,
Yeah.
but
Like you said, that sex scene, well, I guess sex scene, but that bathroom scene is a huge part of the character's journey, and
yeah,
you miss a lot if you don't see that.
yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, hopefully, I mean, Delta said they're gonna change it, so hopefully they do. But yeah, okay. So now we're at the graduation. Um, I personally love Jared's cap on his hat.
Backwards. His hat's
Yes.
backwards and his cap's on it.
It's a very Jared thing to do. And then I love her speech. I think I'm not really an emotional person, but it was that line where she said, oh, God damn it, I already forgot. It's like where she said that it's this part is over now, but wasn't it great or something? I don't know why
Yeah,
that got me. I didn't cry, but I got like teary-eyed a little bit.
I didn't cry, but I sobbed.
I think that
I
I just liked that scene or that speech because she also like looked at her friend and I don't know, it was just very emotional that like it was over for them, right? Like they weren't gonna just see each other all the time anymore.
yeah. Also, that whole graduation. If that happened in a, if the, because they drove a
Oh yeah.
car. What the
Yeah,
heck?
arrested 100%.
Let alone there was no like superintendents of the school district there. There was just Jason.
Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, yeah.
And then after after she finished her speech, my man Noah came back
Oh
and
yeah.
they did the school song, which we did not. They said Olivia Wilde said that there is a full version of that school song that they did, which I would give anything to see. But I love his line when he first walks on stage after that heartfelt moment and he says, "That went over, but I will not be cutting my allotted time."
Yeah.
Ugh, amazing. God, I love him so much. Okay. Oh, and then so I don't know if you noticed this when you first watched it, but that part whenever the panda comes out and they're like kissing it and they're like, please stop, and then Molly like hits the panda from Will Forte's like hands,
Amy
but
hits it. Yeah.
she accidentally hits his hat. And when they
Does he?
stop, you can, yeah, watch it again. Please, after we finish recording, watch that scene. Because she hits his hat and it looks like she like didn't mean to do that. And so she like stops and like puts her head down and you could see that she wants to laugh because everybody's like looking like what the fuck happened, like it wasn't supposed to do that, right? And it looked like it looked like it was really hard for her not to laugh.
uh,
So please go watch that scene again because it's
I will.
my favorite part, and every time I watch that movie I watch that scene like 10 times. um yeah, and then we get to the end where she drops her friend off to the airport, and I really love that scene. I think it's very real for people like me and probably you that struggle with emotions.
Hmm.
That it was a very like not heartfelt goodbye. They were just like, gotta get that bag. Like she didn't really say, anything heartfelt to her face. But whenever they were walking away, whenever she walked away and then Molly was driving, they got really emotional. That's me. Like I can't get emotional around people. I kind of have to like do it on my own.
Yeah.
And so I loved that part. And then I thought that the end song was perfect.
Oh, absolutely. That's so funny. You want to get some waffles or pancakes, whatever she said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the whole scene felt really. Their friendship felt real.
Yeah.
It was nice.
And I think I
Good
read that
movie.
they like lived together for like a couple of weeks while they were filming. So,
Oh.
It probably was at the end like a real friendship. And a lot of them are actually friends in real life. Like I learned that Beanie Feldstein, who played Molly, and the girl that played AAA are actually best friends.
Oh,
And they play like enemies. Uh,
yeah, that's funny.
and I think they're also friends with Noah Galvin. Because they all went to like the same, like they went to like a heart. Whoa. They went to an art high school that had
uh,
like
uh,
a bunch of like performers and stuff. Like Ben Platt was there. But yeah.
uh, that makes sense.
All right. Fun facts. I have three. Um, the first one, which is for you, it's a music one.
Hmm.
Legendary DJ slash producer Dan the Automator, which produced movies. Wow, music for The Gorillas, Handsome Boy Modeling School, Deltron
Oh,
3030, Cool Keith, Got a Girl, and Crudo composed the score.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. I see him. I hear that. That's good. That's a good
Um,
one.
the movie premiered at South by
Yeah, yeah.
last year on Olivia Wilde's 35th birthday.
Oh, and her birthday. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I knew it premiered at South by, which I'm upset that I didn't buy the badge for last year. Because I could have seen Booksmart,
Us.
Us,
Ready Player
and
One.
nope. What's the third one?
Ready
Stuber.
Player One. Oh,
Stuber.
dang! You could have saw all four of them.
And The Long Shot, which I don't know if you've seen, but it's very good.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That also premiered. Oh, man, now I was looking at the schedule and I was
5
like,
years.
I hope that they add more movies because I mean these look really good, but where's the Us of next year?
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
It's okay. All right. My last one is, which is probably my favorite note or fun fact, is that Olivia Wilde encouraged her cast to rewrite any dialogue for their characters if they felt it to be inauthentic.
That's
Which I,
that's
sorry?
really cool.
Yeah. And which I think helped with the whole like complexity a lot. I feel like these kids probably I bet she gave them backstories for everybody, but I feel like a lot of them probably filled that in themselves, and that's why their characters felt so real because they thought about it and they just knew, what this character would do next. Like
Hmm.
maybe that guy knew that he would feel bad about making fun of Molly, and so he would want to be super nice to them.
Yeah, that makes sense. It felt real natural too. I mean, I can't think of any examples, but I mean, did she write it, Olivia Wilde?
So, no, she didn't. So I don't know the two writers. There's two writers, I think, of it. One of her friends, or they're at least friends now because she's always on her Instagram. But she wrote it, and they wrote it like 2012. They wrote it a long time ago.
Oh, but still, they weren't like in high school. It's good that
No.
they took the the advice of the younger generation rather than just like,
Yeah.
well, it's not what I wrote. That's good.
Oh, and they would constantly. I know that for from interviews that they would constantly ask them about stuff like that guy that wore the overalls backwards. I think that they gave him that wardrobe and then he just put it on that way. And they were like, "Yeah, wear it like that."
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I really appreciate this movie a lot more.
Okay. So, before we get into our final thoughts, I will talk about some final thoughts of you guys. So, we had I asked people what they thought about Booksmart, and I had two responses. One from, I don't know, I think this is your friend, Joe Mama 13.
Oh yeah, that's Joe.
Yeah. So he said, great movie. With an exclamation point, so he really liked it.
Yes.
Um, and then, I don't know how to say this. Kayla?
Kayla?
And then Kayla, just a random follower, said a masterpiece, 20 out of 10,
20
which
out
I
of
agree
10.
with.
Yeah, that's a good
It is
movie.
a masterpiece.
I feel like because this came out my freshman year of college, I'll watch this and I'll be like, yeah, that's pretty much how it was to like I'll remember my freshman year because of this movie.
Oh, memories.
Even though it's not a college movie, I'll remember. Senior year was wild. Well, I don't really remember it, but you get
You
what
were
I mean.
drunk all the time.
Nah, you get
But
what
yeah,
I
I
mean.
liked it a lot. I love this movie.
I
20 out of
appreciate
10.
20 out of 10. Great movie! Exclamation point. No, I really appreciate this movie a lot more that we discussed it and you brought up some stuff that I didn't even think about, but really appreciate it a lot more.
Definitely one of those movies I'll probably watch once a year.
Yeah. Right after Interstellar, I guess.
Oh God.
Ooh.
All right. Any last thoughts?
Um, nah. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. I'm excited for my pick.
I forgot
So,
that we did that.
every time we forget. This time I didn't, though. I found one that I'm excited for. And so last time since I picked somebody's recommended movie, I'm actually going to pick one of my own. I'm not going to use any of our recommendations this time.
Wow. She said
I
you all
will say,
suck.
no, I will shout out Sebastian because he said American Psycho, but it is not on Netflix anymore.
Dang.
And he was sad. He was like, I watch it every day. What am I going to do now? So I'll shout him out because I wanted to watch that one because I know I've seen parts of it. Um, but we have to wait for it to come on a streaming service. Sorry, Sebastian. But I've actually I was surprised that you mentioned this movie already. But my pick for next episode is Horse Girl.
Oh. Is it out?
So, funny thing is that this will be released Thursday, and the movie is going to be on Netflix available Friday. So this is
Oh.
the first time we're going to have one where people aren't going to be able to watch it until the next day.
It's a new release.
A new release.
That's so funny because you were talking about Sundance movies, and I was like, I think that is one. And I was like looking it up because I follow Alison Brie from, well, I followed her because she's really funny in Community, but because I remember seeing the trailer on her Instagram, and I was like, it says released on Netflix, but I'm pretty sure it was Sundance. That's why I brought it up. But I'm very interested. It's a interesting trailer. I don't know if you've seen it,
I have, yeah. I know.
but
Me too, and that's why I was surprised it wasn't on that list, but I mean, we'll see. I guess we can draw on conclusions. Especially this will be interesting too, as I'm sure it already has reception for like from Sundance, but we'll be able to see how people are liking it kind of in real time. And
yeah.
because we won't be talking about it until 2 weeks after it's released, I'm
Uh,
interested how it'll be.
that'll be perfect.
And we won't have any fun facts really, so I'll have to like watch a lot of interviews to see if she gives any fun facts. Um,
Yeah.
so this will be kind of a from the ground up episode, and I'm really
Wow.
excited.
That'll be cool. That's like the only pick that is like will be like a new release.
Yeah.
Cool. Other than Stuber, which that's still our most downloaded episode.
Oh God, that is so sad to me. Okay, so just to give a little rundown, this movie, like we've said, is going to be available on Netflix this Friday. The what is that? The 7th?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the 7th, and it is about a sweet misfit with a fondness for crafts, horses, and supernatural crime shows finds her increasingly lucid dreams trickling into her waking life.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get to watch, like I said, those film festival movies. We won't be able to watch it in a film festival, so we'll actually be able to see if it's good or not without the allure of a film festival.
Should be cool.
That's why after I come back from South by, I'm gonna be like, every movie was amazing.
Because you got that experience
That's
of
not
being
true.
in
I've
a
seen,
festival.
well, I've already seen two movies at South by in previous years, and I didn't really like them. So,
Oh, brag about it. Oh.
yeah, I have seen a few.
Oh, I've seen a few.
Oh, South by? Yeah, I go every year. All right. Well, that's it for this
Yes.
episode that
Thank
I
you guys
stumbled
for
my way
listening.
through.
Yes. Please let us know if there are any questions or comments. Let us know what's working for you guys, what you like listening to, what doesn't work, what you want to hear. We want to make something that you guys want to listen to, so hit us up on Twitter at Bro Sister Show, Instagram at Brother Sister Show, and then our email is thebrosispod@gmail.com.
And
Sorry,
my
it's a
number
little
is
all over. 911. That is my number. But yeah, reach out. I'd love to
let us
talk
know.
to you guys.
Alrighty. See you next time.
Bye.